Welcome to Algo Hour 61. It's August 13th. We're here.
We're here.
Joe
We're
and
here.
Ted.
There's a Friday the 13th next month.
Is there?
Yeah. For some reason, I thought today was Friday, even though today is Tuesday. It's the whole point. Anyways.
I don't think any of us are really okay, but we're all here, and most of us, I think, are going to make it. Let's see. Joe's here, and I was just saying backstage before the show, I'm like, Joe's collected and calm and cool. And then I was thinking, okay, call me when you've got 2 5 and under, and we'll talk.
Yeah.
I feel like that just upped my level of. I'm just numb to the chaos. Maybe now.
Yeah,
Could be
I cannot even imagine.
But Luca, you're looking inquisitive there.
You're numb to the chaos. I'm over here to create the chaos.
Not your chaos. Yeah, no, I tune in every time this week for my daily or my weekly dose.
Yeah, like if chaos is a pool of Jello, I'm in it. You know.
I'm in it. I'm swimming in it.
And you're like watching, like, oh, let us Luca do it.
No, I'm in it with a pack of wet wipes going, oh my God.
You're trying to clean it.
Yeah, and checking people's water wings and stuff. Yeah, that's me. Did you bring this up?
Algo mom.
But, I dig the good vibes. You had a big week. You had a competition.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, you did good. You didn't do bad.
I didn't do bad. It was really bad.
Oh, I didn't think you did bad. You nailed a bunch of stuff. It sounded impressive to me when I read the tweet, and you were like, I nailed the stage 5, and I got the 7. It sounded impressive. Do I have to pull up the tweet?
Oh, well, I sold myself well, but...
Oh, well, good job. I'm proud of you for doing it, getting out there, getting Algo active. Good job. You got another one coming up in September?
I do, yes. I've got a month to train and actually perform and execute.
I think it might have been some jitters more than anything.
Oh, it was so much jitters. Oh my gosh, like the first hour,
a lot.
I was just like freaking out. There was like members of Team USA there, like people that I have like idolized for years. And so I'm just watching like literally the best in America climb these problems in front of me. And like I'm supposed to climb the same ones. And my mind just went, nope.
But you totally do climb those ones, and you hang from your fingers and do all sorts of weird stuff. I did watch the bouldering, and I don't know, Joe, I didn't see that you liked my tweet. I'm a little offended. I put out some great algorithm marketing this week. Oh man, I feel like I should have pulled it up. But I basically said the only thing that even comes close to competing with an algorithm block time finalizing was the men's Olympic speed climbers, because holy crap, those dudes are fast. Like sub 5 seconds, they are up that freaking wall. It's insane.
And that is 15 meters. Like that is not a short distance.
I don't know if I could run that in that time.
I couldn't.
Right?
15 meters?
Am I making that up?
You're going the wrong way. There's 3 feet per meter, right?
Yeah, so 15 times 345, right?
Yeah, I couldn't run 45 feet.
And then what are they? Is it like 5 seconds?
4.74 is the men's world record.
So then if it's, hold on here, let me do some math while you guys are talking.
And he says that like lots of people were over 5 seconds. Like, no, there was lots of like.
5 to 6 is really good.
Like people won or lost by 1,000th of a second, or like 3,000ths of a second.
So that's feet per minute times feet per hour.
Our sports analyst is going to give us the live breakdown.
I think it's a foot every 0.1 seconds.
I don't know. I should have had
more. That's 6.4 miles per hour, which is like
4 miles per hour.
Which is like
up straight. It's not even straight up. It's beyond straight up. You're actually like climbing backwards slightly by 5 degrees, I think.
Ooh.
So it's like for vertical. I guess maybe I could run that.
You could run that.
But it would be close. And that's scary.
They are fast and they get up that wall but the route is the same for everyone always. So have you ever tried that route?
I've climbed on the holds. I've never done the actual like speed climb.
Oh, okay. I feel like
The closest one to me is like Indianapolis, which is
okay.
2.5 hours away. So
Okay.
I've not found time.
I just heard them talking about it, you know, how it was an incline and it's the same route. And because when it came to the bouldering competition, I thought it was weird that they kept them in seclusion. I was like, what is going on? That sounds very intense. Like, we've got the athletes in seclusion. It's, I don't know, maybe it's like post-COVID PTSD, but I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what's happening? It's
So,
okay.
like,
That's
with
what
the
they
bouldering
do.
route,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they change the boulders every time. So the first time you see the boulder, you have 4 minutes to climb it, which is just significantly harder than like knowing what to expect.
And so they keep you like that. You don't get to see it, and you don't get to see
no idea
anybody
what
else try it. And then they give you another one to do while this other person's trying to do theirs. So it's like, it seemed distracting.
Yeah, you're pretty laser focused though. You're really used to people climbing around you because you've done it, you know, the whole time you've been a climber.
Gotcha.
So it's not too bad.
And then my critique overall on the Olympics, because I know we all care what I think about this, was the brackets. I didn't like the brackets. I thought there should have been 3 climbers or like 5 that all climb that same route at the same time. Like, or I don't know, like when I watched the breakdancing, it felt like one beat somebody that like actually would have scored better. I don't know.
Bracket's weird because like the fastest, like the guy who set the world record got bronze. Like, how do you get bronze and set a world record? Like, you deserved gold, but in that head-to-head match, he messed up, and so he had to fight for bronze instead of.
That's what I'm saying. So I totally didn't get that, and I feel like if you're gonna race, y'all go at the same time, right? I don't know.
Sounds like you're a sore loser.
It could be. Joe's like, what is happening right now? I just came to talk about Deb's stuff.
I mean, it'd be like if you took the men's 100-meter and split it up into 4 different races. So, like, if you got in the same bracket as Usain Bolt, like, okay, you're not winning.
Well, that's what it's like beforehand to simmer it down from.
But it's always like 8.
Yeah,
but it depends what racehorse you're up against. So I feel like a lot of those climbers had their personal best ever climbs against these people that were like, no offense, better than them at what they were doing.
You just take the risk.
Right. So like, I feel like by putting all the horses at the starting line at the same time, you're going to get everybody's best performance.
I like that.
But
let's put you on the committee.
The one that put the bronze, I'm so bad at names. Hall?
Sam Watson.
Okay. Not even close.
Oh, close. Very close.
He went up against, like, it should have been an easy win, and it was just like a fumble. That's all. Head space, right? You got to have your head in the game.
Too funny.
And like the margin of error is so small because you're literally like leaping to the next hole. So like if your foot slips, if you don't
like
catch
Lemur.
it perfectly enough, like there are so many tiny things that can go wrong that makes, your 4.74 into a 5.8 and like, boom, you lost.
It just was different from watching the Olympic surfing, which I had a hard time with the attention span problem. And then going to the climbing where like literally if you blink, I could not see a discernible difference between the winner and the loser on some of those runs. Even when they put it in slow-mo, I still couldn't tell who hit the button fast first. It was intense. Ted, I have been soaking in the sports while you were gone, man. I'm like basically a sports buff now.
I mean, the Olympics are fun because it provides such a unique perspective on a lot of athletics that really don't get a lot of attention. And it's interesting too, because as America becomes fatter and fatter, this is the most medals that the U.S. has gotten, or any country, I should say, has gotten in an Olympics since like 1908. So it's fascinating to see that like our top 1% of athletes are still just a world and away in comparison to like a China or, an India or some of these other countries that just have billions and billions of people. and that's really fascinating. India is a really interesting topic of
The
conversation.
break
as
dancer
well.
or the country?
In India, the country,
Okay.
because there was just a tremendous amount of corruption within the Indian athletic federations, and all of these. Someone mapped it out, and on average, I think it's like 95% of these department heads are politicians, not former athletes that either, maybe veterans of the program or maybe veterans of the sport in general. And as a result, you're seeing some of these people get equivalent of, tens of millions of US dollars, only for it to really just kind of go into corruption. And as a result, you're seeing a lot of underprepared athletes. You're seeing a lot of people in India in general are just disappointed. They're wondering, what the heck? Why can't we get some sort of medals? And that's really.
I didn't look. I gotta say, I'm guilty of looking at the top 5 and like being like, oh, sorry, Canada, you didn't make it. But like, not really digging deep down the list. Obviously, that's easy to say because I have it on the sports segment. It's queued up for sports, but we're number 1. We have the most medals. So,
the thing is
we were in the top 5. I didn't have to scroll.
When you see a country like North Korea get more silver medals than India, that's where
how are they even allowed to compete?
North Koreans exist. Like,
so do Russians, but we didn't let them play in the games.
Well, Russia is different because that's less of a Ukraine thing and more of a they were like rampantly doping their athletes with steroids and then paying off the agencies that were in charge of testing their athletes. So it turned into this huge scheme that crossed over, like especially when the Olympics were held in Sochi back in 2014, 12.
This is where I start to gloss over on sports, the corruption and like the people that have all these like intertwining like interests. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to see the pole vaulter give it a shot, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The rhythmic gymnastics team from Ukraine, like literally brought me to tears with their performance. It was amazing. They were practicing like in between breaks in a bomb shelter, like out of a bomb shelter. It was crazy. So I don't know. I like the human stories behind the Olympics.
And I think the Olympics provide the most human stories that you get in athletics. I mean, everything ranging from that one shooter in Turkey who just shows up and shoots, and even on the higher tier of athletes like a Simone Biles, who is an Olympic gold medalist, one of the best gymnasts to ever exist ever. It's really interesting to see that, and Jordan Childs, who won third place. Didn't win third place, but then did win third place, but then now maybe hasn't won third place.
Oh, wait, they might be taking it back now?
So I think they have taken it back, but she isn't giving the medal back. So then now there's like a whole, and this is a woman, by the way, that she still has a gold medal from Paris through the all-around, I think it was the all-around floor routine, team floor routine.
Yeah, the team, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, but and there's a lot of other kind of fun, different like aspects as well. Novak Djokovic, who finally won a gold medal in the tennis world, where it's between Rafa and Federer and Djokovic and I'm forgetting the other guy. But just like as they are continuing to really stack a whole lot of accomplishments and achievements, and they're getting older now and they're starting to retire. It's like Andy Murray. It's just interesting, I guess. That's for lack of a better term.
Yeah, no, I see how like some countries might have been disappointing, and like that's part of it. But it was really cool to see a lot of countries shine. Like I said, like I don't know, I was really moved by some of China's rhythmic gymnastics too, and I was like, I just expected a really like clean, not emotion necessarily from that. So I don't know. I like the human aspect, and then there is the nitty gritty of how committees are formed and how things are decided, and then the scores and if they can be changed. And like, That makes me all want to stick. I just want to stick my head in the sand.
You know, and it's hard because there's not an international standard for qualifying, right? This is going from country by country because, to be honest with you, a lot of these countries know best. I mean, trying to get some governing international body that tries to moderate things is how you kind of end up like with a FIFA. And if you remember where the last World Cup has been and where the next couple World Cups will be, it's kind of rife with a lot of corruption. So it's a damned if you do situation, damned if you don't. It's funny, we like to kind of look at certain, you know, areas of dysfunction within the U.S. athletic programs, like the U.S. men's national team, soccer team. But it just pales in comparison to some of these other countries. I mean, the reason why we kind of have a lot of that dysfunction in the first place in America is just because there's just so many sports. Like, I mean, you know, when you think about all the sports that don't really have an Olympic presence, and it's just like, I feel like we would sweep everything ranging from, you know, American
Well,
football.
now that college athletes can compete in the Olympics, because before they had to pick if they wanted to compete,
Which was,
couldn't do both. And so now we're cleaning up. We got runners. We got, like, you know, our track and field, like, overall was amazing. Gymnastics, I feel like, I don't know, breakdancing, we got bronze. Like, come on, let's go.
Well, America is probably the best place in the world to monetize your athletic ability, whether that's through being an influencer or competing and winning prize pools in whatever
those
sport
athletes
you're
don't
talking
always
about.
play for America. Like, I saw a lot of athletes that train at American colleges and live here and were playing for a different country, whether it was because they had I heard somebody had tri-citizenship. The volleyball player from Canada was tri-citizenship.
Yep. And there was a Swedish individual as well, and I'm forgetting on the sport, so that's a very specific example that I'm bringing on. But yeah, I mean, I think America, by and large, has the best athletic facilities in the world, and it shows. I mean, we're a population of 400 million people on a good day, and like, we're sweeping, getting 126 medals, 40 golds, tying for first place in the gold medal count. Is amazing. And it's funny too, because it's like Americans, we swept in like a lot of the track and field events, and then China sweeps in like the diving events, and hearing the kind of discourse of like, all the Chinese are good at are ping pong and diving. And then it's like the Chinese are like, well, all the Americans are good at is running. And it's like, yeah, kind of.
I mean, it's just always fun to see somebody break that shell. Or like, our track and field has been good historically and hasn't really been good lately. So like, to see those kind of round out, I don't know. And then like new sports like breaking, I was stoked. There was a kid from Miami there. Like, it was cool. I don't know. All right, sorry, I went way down the rabbit hole. Ted, I've been so into sports. I think I need to take my hands off the sports section. I'll let you cover sports, I think, from now on. But it was fun watching it with my kids and like looking for some obscure, like, we watched the pole vaulting and the long jump and like the hammer
the synchronized
throw.
swimming.
The synchronized swimming was amazing. So yeah, we really liked watching all of those. And then, yeah, we had a runner from Michigan get a bronze medal in one of the track events. So that was cool. And we like went and found that one to watch. So we felt like we were cheering somebody on. It was cool. Did you see the 50-year-old UK skateboarder? No, I didn't see the 50-year-old UK skateboarder.
It's not Tony Hawk? Why didn't Tony Hawk compete?
I don't know.
Do you want to know who won a bronze medal for Britain in skateboarding?
Sure.
And how old she is?
Oh, she's like, what, 15?
Oh, if she was 15, would be her year of birth is 2008.
Huh?
What does that make her? 13.
Wow.
So what were you doing at 13?
That'd be 15.
The 14-year-old.
Our math is not good here on the show.
That's 24 minus 8. That's 16, Ted. 24 minus 8. Come on.
Oh, she is 16.
But we're known for some really good math.
Well, okay. So China's Zhen Hao was 11.
Oh,
11? You can compete at 11?
You could get
Andy McDonald's.
Arisa True, 14-year-old from Australia, won gold.
What?
Damn.
Imagine like having a crush on your like little 14-year-old classmate, and you two are like sitting in social studies together, and then she just whips out a gold medal and be like, "I'm a gold medalist." I'd be like, "Oh, well, You want to see my Roblox?"
I couldn't help but think that, like, when I was watching the rhythmic gymnastics, that like those girls would probably be really good at volleyball, or like the break dancers. We should get those guys on a pommel horse, like, you know what I mean? And obviously I know that to be really good at one sport, you have to really focus. But I was like, man, I bet this person would really like this, sport. I don't know. So we had a good time in our house. But let's see, deep thoughts, horses. Polly's here, Lassie's here. Bento Grizz says arthritis sucks. It does suck. Yeah, it's skateboarding. Kids are fearless. I heard even Simone Biles say something like that. Like the older you get, kind of the more scared of getting hurt you get. Like whether you like it or not, it just is like scarier. Because I think she's 27 or 28 now. Is that right? Could be in her 30s even. But she was talking about that because so. All right, Joe, I'm sorry. Get us back to reality. Tell us what is happening in the world of depping. I'll put you in your scene and you can have your space. I want to know what's up. I know I've seen and heard some rumors that I'm really interested about that I'm not going to put you on the spot to mention, but I'm going to say out loud before I stick you in your scene awkwardly so that you know that I want to know about them. But like I heard Learn to Earn might be happening soon. I heard that people are making a cool wallet. I don't know if you saw Kirby's thing that he posted. He's like, it's not live yet, but it was like gifting and a new wallet, and it was a super seamless thing. Like, I know this Liquid Auth. I've been like hearing about how awesome it is, and I've been like dreaming about how awesome it's gonna be, but like I want to like see it and use it. So okay, here's your scene. Okay, bye.
All right, so Irel just hinted at some alpha. I can talk about some of it. So the first thing to mention is, Liquid Auth. So Liquid Auth, we are still working pretty hard at it. I think in Decipher, we did a demo that should be recorded on YouTube. But really, like, the cool thing about Liquid Auth is that you're not supposed to think about it, right? So like the end user experience of Liquid Auth is something that you don't even need to think about, right? Like you just scan a QR code and it works, and you don't have to know whether it's using Liquid Auth or Wallet Connect or whatever. It'll just work, right? So right now, if you want to play around with it, and maybe I should get an Android phone so I can do this on the show. That would be pretty cool. Because right now you do need an Android phone to do the demo. But you can test it out yourself. It's more geared towards technical folks. But the idea is that instead of using Wallet Connect, you scan a QR code that can connect your wallet. And in doing that, you also do some fancy cryptography to prove that you own that account. And this means that you don't have to sign like zero algo transactions in order to prove you own an account. For example, you can just use Liquid Auth. And this is really useful for websites, but also things like Discord bots and that sort of stuff where you're connecting your account and proving ownership. I don't have an exact timeline, and we'll have more kind of like user stuff that anyone can kind of demo. Like I said, it's still pretty technical right now, but I can look into maybe doing a demo on the show. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know why I didn't think of that until now, but yeah, maybe we could do that. And then yeah, IRL is heckling me for not or heckling Android users for being maniacs. But yeah, so that's on Liquid Auth. Don't have a whole ton to share. I'm personally not working on Liquid Auth a lot. A lot of that work is being done by hash maps to data value and our engineer Michael and Kyle as well. So I'm kind of removed from that effort, but obviously I work alongside these guys, so I get to see some of the stuff getting cooked up, which is cool. But we'll have more relatively soon. And then the other thing, so IRL mentioned Kirby's little like preview of a wallet he's building. And really the key of that wallet is what we call ARC58. This is a new ARC for account abstraction. So you've probably heard a lot about account abstraction on other chains. And basically what this allows you to do is it allows you to add functionality to your account in a like secure way. So this is kind of like an improved version of signing a logic signature. And the idea is that I can have an account that's technically a smart contract, but that's just a technical detail you don't need to know about. And I can give certain apps permissions, right? So I can say this app can withdraw 5 algo every month, but it can't do anything else. It can't touch any of their assets. It can't withdraw more than 5 algo, that sort of stuff. And so this could also be used for like opting into a bunch of assets. Like there's a whole lot of use cases, subscriptions. You can have like what happens if, you know, someone passes away, how do you transfer the ownership of that account? There's a lot of interesting thing that this opens the door to. As Kyle mentioned in that tweet, this is still very early. So the way we're doing it right now, it's not 100% sure that's going to be the way we do it in the future. But the idea is essentially, in a nutshell, that we're giving more functionality to accounts that involve less signing, right? So we all know that, you know, self-custody is the most secure way to use blockchain technology, but it's kind of annoying, especially if you're using a ledger to like click through every time you want to send someone, you know, like an FT or something, right? So how do we draw that balance between still being secure and having self-custody while giving more functionality to the account to do things in an automated way? And what Kyle was building, you know, for kind of like, it's essentially like a wallet that uses this ARC for a better user experience. Like I said, it's still kind of early stages, and we're still kind of playing around with all the various approaches that we could take to add this sort of functionality to accounts. But it's definitely going to be something that we're thinking about a lot, especially probably the later half of this year. That's something that, you know, myself and Kyle have been working on a lot on. And then we've also, of course, been talking with wallet providers like Para and DFly, and really just trying to think of the best way we can do this. And again, the end goal is just improve user experience. So this is kind of like, you know, Liquid Auth is all about connecting accounts, and then ARC58 and what Kyle is building is all about actually using those accounts and making that process more seamless. And what Kyle specifically is working on is doing account abstraction with passkeys. So this allows you to basically sign a transaction with like Face ID, for example. And you can do a lot of really interesting things by making the Web3 self-custody experience more like regular Web2 experience. Again, still early, but hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll have something a little bit more concrete to demo and kind of talk about and show some of the use cases. Now, one last thing I want to mention is I brought this up on the last show before it was live, but it is now officially live. And that is a new Algorand network called FNet. And this is a new public network that is going to be focused on running like future versions of the protocol. And in this case, we are running a version of the protocol that has consensus incentives enabled. So as most of you probably know, as part of the technical roadmap this year, later this year, we're going to be enabling consensus incentives, which means you get paid every time you propose a block. But of course, before people actually start using that and we deploy it on mainnet, we want a good way to test it. And so that's what we created FNet for. Again, similarly to Liquid Auth, right now, this is a little bit more developer focused. As it matures, it'll be easier and easier to get more users onboarded. But if you're interested, there is, let me paste this. Oh, I don't have the YouTube chat open. Let me go to YouTube to paste this link, but it is fnet.algorand.green. And this is where you can, this is a website that contains information about this network. And then probably the best place to go and get support and ask questions on the Algorand Discord, which is discord.gg/Algorand. Under the events category, there's a FNet incentivized channel, and that is where you can get information about how to get started. And in particular, right now, there is not an automated dispenser. So if you want to get involved in the FNet network, you have to reach out to D13, Nolan, or Silent Rhetoric and have them manually transfer you some algos. And then you can start proposing blocks and getting rewarded with FNet Algo. Now, this is entirely for just like beta purposes. This network is going to get reset. Your account's going to get reset. So there's absolutely no actual monetary value associated with this network. This is mainly just to play around. But the exciting thing is that what this will enable is that products like the Transaction Labs Ready staking platform will be able to launch on FNet, and people can start playing around with these decentralized staking protocols before we officially launch consensus incentives. So the goal is to get more people using this stuff before we actually launch our mainnet, with a purpose kind of being twofold: A, so we can learn more about it, and also B, so we can find bugs and help Algorand Technologies, as they are the ones developing this, figure out what kind of decisions to be made and how this should be implemented. So again, probably the easiest place to go is just go on Discord and ask around, and it will get you to the right place. And as more things are, like right now, if you look at the Explorer, it is supported on LoRa, the Explorer, LoRa.algokit.io. But if you look at it, basically every block is empty because no one's actually using it. We just have people participating in like an actual ghost chain. But in the future, we'll have more apps on it. So definitely stay tuned. I'll share news with that as things come available. So yeah, I think IRL mentioned one other thing that I cannot speak on. That's all I'll say. But I'll hand it back over to you, IRL.
What the F then? I'm just kidding. Did I just say F then?
See what you did there.
Out loud? Yeah, that was a follow through. There was a through line there. That sounds cool. I mean, it sounds exciting. Anytime you rattle off a few names that I know are super nerdy and they're all like teaming up, I get really bullish about it. So I have high hopes that it will manifest into something pretty cool. Yeah. All right. That was a lot. You guys have been always a ton going on. You're like, oh, I don't know. You might not notice. There's like a whole beta network now. That's cool. All right. Well, Governor's Hat just chimed in and said, I made it late though. You missed all the nerdy stuff. Just now it wrapped up. There's an FNet. Things are happening.
There's an actual ghost chain. Like, come on.
There is. There are
That's
people that are
hilarious.
being incentivized to all agree there's nothing happening. I like that. It's an easy to come to consensus when that's what that is. All right. Well, in other news, we got some flexes if you guys want to do that.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Maybe. I feel like my buttons moved.
Ooh.
Hi.
Redhead. Called it. Said it first.
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 I was going to have to. Okay. Don't want to miss anyone's flexes. They've been pretty awesome lately. So we got a breadhead. It's true. I need to get better about learning how to post GIFs because I feel like I have a really good one too.
Oh yeah.
Ice Age. Flexing the
No,
Angry
it's a big
Penguins.
one.
I haven't seen an Angry Penguin in a while. I have a bunch in my wallet though. AP's still around. He comments on our videos here and there. I'll get a comment from him. So these are, it looks like Ice swept the floor on this one, and this was his favorite Ice Matters. Jocko Nunn posted an Algo card, which I did not. I know that they got like after the My Algo thing. Are they still like active right now? Are they active?
Yeah, they merged with Algo Leagues.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to play the Pard game, you play in the Algo League server.
That's cool. I love a good team up. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's cool news. And then Will was busy flexing one of their all-time favorites. This was my first big, big NFT purchase, and I absolutely love it. It's a He-Pow. Which they put out a second gen recently, I think.
Third.
Okay, and this is the first gen. See, I kind of
Hippo, Rats, and then something else, DJs or something?
I can imagine like how lost I'm feeling, and then I feel like we're stepped. So like you're probably the most knowledgeable about NFTs.
Try to be. The burst.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got Ted, who's like, oh, he's there. We're keeping him by a thread. We got some, and then we got Joe, who like, he's like, I don't know how there's any capacity left in that brain of yours afterwards, but you keep up, man. You got some good boys. You got a little collection going.
Yeah,
no. Here's your flex. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I haven't since Good Boys. I haven't really been acquiring any NFTs. I need to step up my game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's mainly secondary action. To be honest, there's not a lot of people dropping new stuff. And we love you. So if there's something new, like you gotta claim your good boy right now, because you have 14 minutes. We tried to tell you, but I miss stuff all the time. I have been seeing Giraffe around a little bit, and I bought one of their gems.
Oh yeah.
Like before it went kind of sideways for a while, and I don't want to miss my opportunity to claim that. But I also am deeply rejecting Discord at the moment. So if I hold one of your NFT projects and you want me to know about something, you should not expect me to be in Discord for that. I actually went to enter a Scully Friends giveaway, and there's like rules. Everybody was like typing stuff, and I was like, oh crap, I've been off Discord so long, I don't even know the rules anymore for Scully Friends giveaway. So I didn't enter it.
40 announcements.
Yeah, I didn't enter it because I didn't want to be on that beast.
You just have to comment. So you just have to say what
anything. Okay, because a lot of people were like writing choice, but then some of them were saying what their choice would be. All around, it felt like it was just a big commitment, knowing I definitely would have to tweet about it afterwards.
Just type whatever you want. It'll work. Yeah.
Okay, so I just need to type anything.
Yeah, anything really.
Lord Believer coming in with the wins. I can now enter a Scully Friends giveaway.
I got you.
All right, this is how do you say it?
Tabio Bloom?
Tabio?
I think so. Tabeo? Tabio?
Oh, I'm gonna make you second guess it, not a big time.
I'm not looking at it, so I don't know.
Tabebo?
Tabebo!
There's a bloom. There's a bloom in there.
Tabebo Bloom?
Tabebo Bloom. I don't know why I did that.
No.
Tabebo Bloom?
Tabebo. Oh, I like Tabebo.
How do you think you say it, Ted?
Tabo Bloom. Tabo Bloom.
Tabo.
Tybo.
Abo Bloom. Abo Bloom.
I don't remember how you spelled Tyball, the exercise thing. I don't think it was spelled like that.
But there was an L in there that you guys weren't pronouncing in the back. That was my contribution.
Oh, for the bloom part. Yeah, I just hadn't gotten there yet. I was still really stuck on the
Oh,
first
okay, sorry. I got ahead of myself, as I usually do.
All right, so you're flexing Tabebo bloom and a gully. Okay, I can say gully. Her deals flexing a very special doofy made by Doofy. It's a special one. Very cool. It's got all the little millions of shapes in the background that go into like what Her Doodles does in PowerPoint to make NFTs. I think it's a superpower. It's a good one. I like how he uses that in the background. Pizza made by cats. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's pretty shitty.
Kitty's a good and wild though.
They're busy. They're always doing stuff. I can't keep up with it. Yeah, that I was mad. I wasn't mad. I was sad. I missed meeting the miners in Columbus.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were going there. I probably
would have been worth it.
Okay, so did you guys see our traits?
Are we in the
Cumulatively, we're piling up on the traits here. Yeah, there's an axe here,
dude? Oh,
right?
Yeah.
We got a post-it,
Ooh, nice.
and then we got. I think this is Algo on it too. So, not to brag, but it made me really proud.
Oh yeah, and it has the technical difficulties.
Yeah, right there. I did see that.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm on a bad screen. I need to put it in a bigger screen, but it's cool. Obviously, we love them. And it was funny. It's cool. Lassie getting her inner Zen on with a Rumahan. I love Han, and he does have a Zen thing. I think everybody could, other than Joe Palmy, needs a big old chill pill. So I like that. I just post a random emoji if I don't know what to say. Okay. Sometimes I pick a random gift that you could take several ways, so you don't know what I'm thinking.
Interesting move.
I think like the Leslie Note double phones.
I'm just gonna be quiet.
You're doing a good job.
Hey, if you know what? You want me to? I'll walk away. Just walk away.
You don't want
we're trying to
to.
But
Don't retire now, Brad.
shout out Per Doodles again for being in the chat as well.
Flexes. You gonna read it, or I can read it? Meet Billy, or Triple B, as I like to say. My longest held NFT. I read this and I was like, no, I know you had NFTs before that, but you must not held those ones. So, purchased the 5th of January, 2022.
AB2 Gallery gives me PTSD.
Why?
I've never shopped on AB2.
You what?
Never did.
You didn't miss out on much.
The first
Joe,
buy.
did you
That
ever try
was
it?
rude.
I don't
It sounds like
think
a
so.
hit drug. Joe, did you ever AB2?
You hate that.
No.
That would be dope.
You never did? You never
I don't
got
think so,
really into
no.
AB2? Never dabbled in it? Okay. It was the first marketplace on Algo that you could buy an NFT on. And when I was like, what the heck is an NFT and a PFP? And it made it seem kind of legit because it wasn't like a weird back channel of Reddit. Good. First, I can't believe it.
Yeah, it was like I liked
Me
it.
and Ted here. Remember the good old AB2 days.
Like all things considered, I think the biggest thing that was cool about it was at least for me, sorry, I feel like I'm about to throw up right now. The biggest thing was I always thought blockchain was just the peak that blockchain could be is just a ledger or a decentralized ledger. But I think the concept of like having smart contracts and being able to like bundle a transaction plus something else, in this case it was just an asset, for me was like a very like, oh, this feels like this is the beginning. Like right now, this is like the concept of like sending an email from one person to another. And it still kind of uses the ledger and whatnot. And again, the blockchain, I think the common misnomer, and Joe, you can come in here and talk a little bit more clearly about this, but common misnomer about blockchain is that it can be used as a database. And I think when a lot of times with gaming, especially, it's like, oh, well, we're just going to use this as a database, which is good. But I think that the smart contract component to it, where everything can kind of work in the background, and which is why I'm really excited, Joe, to hear more about FNet and more about like, okay, we can program something, okay, that will remit payments in the future. So this could be something where it functions more and more like a credit card, but there's also a lot more ownership. What's the word I'm looking for? Custody of your assets and of your funds and everything in between. So that was my rant.
I think really what has been happening, particularly like in the bear market, where like people are starting to think a little bit more about like real world assets has been a big thing. I think there's been more of a separation between like cryptocurrency and blockchain, where like blockchain has, cryptocurrency, like you said, is just that ledger of like everyone just has a balance and that's it. Whereas like blockchain, there's all these more interesting things like smart contracts that enables really a lot more interesting use cases. And I think that's what I think that's one of the reasons why NFTs were so like, there was like that big NFT boom, a couple of years ago, is because that was like the first demonstration of like this use of this technology other than just like transacting on a ledger. So I'm pretty hopeful that like as we get more and more interesting products on blockchain, people will start to understand that like it's more than just a ledger, and that you have all these interesting use cases. And then there's also like the complete other side of like the more like human side of like Web3 communities and stuff, that like through the technology people will discover. So
I think that that's something I've been seeing. I've been trying to get back into Facebook. Do I sound really lame? Probably do. I mean, we're here, so. But I've been trying to get back on Facebook more. I just totally like ghosted it way before I got a Twitter account even. And I keep seeing like people really struggling, especially like people right around my age with their mental health, and like not even like mental health problems, just struggling with mental health maintenance, right? Because COVID threw a wheel in it, and then going back to work, and like there's always all this stuff, and then on top of it, the social media is kind of like constant gas aerosol on a fire, so it like makes everything seem bigger and brighter than it really is. And I was thinking about that and how NFT communities have been like really helpful for me to plug into and like be able to grow. Like we all can look back at our early videos and laugh. I'm like, there has been undeniable growth, right? And there's so many areas in our, we'll call it Web3 space or blockchain space, you can look at a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and see and feel actual improvement, right? Like we're talking about those friction points, those rails, like. So for me, I think like once we hit that, there's going to be a whole slew of people again, probably kind of my age, who are really tired of the status quo of banking and really tired of the status quo of health records and financing and fees and stuff, and want kind of sovereignty over their own assets to be able to list or hold or sell or stake or whatever. But we got to make it welcoming. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's some interconnectivity between that human tribe and that cutting, bleeding edge tech solution that like people I don't think people understand what it could do. But being able to plug in with these NFT communities shows you, like, it gives you an example. even if it's something little like, hey, you know, if you like classic arcade games, let me send you this NFT that'll get you access to this website you can play games on, right? You can win prizes. It's kind of cool. It's like a claw machine. You know, I think that thing Kirby posted really excited me because I can see myself saying to my friends or family, saying like, oh, you know, like I got a fractal monster, let me send it, you know, to you and you can get it to the boys to play. I just think it would be cool, but it doesn't work right now.
I think the biggest thing
People
too
think
is
it's
like
crazy.
disseminating what we want, which is important, don't get me wrong, but making sure that aligns with what companies want in a long run. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, and this is kind of a painful reality that I've learned, it is in a company's best interest to maintain the status quo because the status quo is what's working. And until there is a reason why people should have custody of their assets, or for example, for that circumstance, from the company's perspective, I can think of a bajillion reasons why someone should from a, you know, their own personal ownership. But until a company is down to clown, you know, we're not gonna. I feel like we're not gonna evolve to a point, which is the other reason why I think, Joe, one of the biggest things that you've enlightened me on, as well as a lot of the humanitarian work, where traditional finance mechanisms are generally broken. You can't go to a bank to get a loan if the bank is blown up by a tornado. And I think that is one of the things that more recently I've been really excited about within the last year or so. And would love an update if there's any update.
Don't have an update yet to give, but we might have one soon. So that's some alpha for the alpha. But yeah, I think also in addition, you know, one of the challenges, especially in Algorand, is that there seems to be kind of two separate worlds of like where this technology is actually needed and like where hype is generated, right? I mean, like we have like TravelX, for example, that has like millions of like daily active users because it's a bunch of like popular airlines that is just using that technology in the background. But it's not, you know, like a fancy startup in the US that is doing a token launch and generating a bunch of hype. And so there's kind of like this dichotomy of like the path that we need to get, you know, like technology adoption and the path of like generating hype and, you know, being competitive, like on the like market cap charts and stuff. And I think there can be a lot of overlap, but finding the best way to achieve that like efficiently, I think is one of the biggest challenges that Algorand has had, because we do so well at like the technology side of things. Like how do we, you know, intertwine that with communities more and start generating more hype? You know, that side of things is, you know, a lot of where Algorand can improve on. And, you know, in my personal opinion, with like Mark coming on board and some of the new marketing initiatives, it seems we're starting to get there a little bit. So yeah, but it's a very interesting thing to be an observer on, especially as someone that like works in the foundation, can kind of like, I know a lot of these really cool use cases that some of which I can talk about, some of which I can't. Yeah, like the broader ecosystem, like crypto ecosystem, isn't talking about things like TravelX, so it's pretty interesting.
Right.
Is there a particular? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is there a particular project that we as an ecosystem are actively, maybe not ignoring, but aren't giving enough credit for how much they are driving either activity or development towards the blockchain? I mean, again, like you mentioned, TravelX is important. And I will argue a little bit, though, it's like they are using the technology, but are they providing this, you know, worldwide level of exposure? Maybe, right, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. But it's showing you what can be done.
No, absolutely.
Just like I was thinking HezPay, I saw Kyle post a updated thread about HezPay going to from monthly to daily drops, which like aid is a big thing. I don't know. I think, okay, we went way down the rabbit hole. I just want to take a second and acknowledge this masterpiece. We've seen it come up a couple times on NFC Flex time. So Algo posting the Purdue Flex today. It's a ray of sunshine. It's not a very happy ray of sunshine, but it's there.
Well, you know,
but that's what I'm saying. The examples are there, though. You know that you want to see. They're there, but the average person, even if you get them a wallet, can't buy an airplane ticket. You know what I mean? It's like such a mazy way to get to the cool thing that's actually there that I feel like, yeah, we just need to smooth that stuff out.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff within the crypto space in general that I'm just surprised hasn't come to fruition more. One of the things, briefly, and I'll mention this as well, is just like Overstock.com was supposed to be one of the premier places where you could just buy stuff with Bitcoin or anything else. And it was really disappointing to kind of see them walk back that sentiment a little bit. I think you still have that payment option, but when it comes to actually like making that part of their thesis, or like, hey, yes, you can get stuff at cheap, but you have to use this. Like, someone with a higher pay grade than me has obviously done the math and figured it's just better just to have people use credit cards, which is sad. And I'm hoping we change that. The MasterCard partnership is interesting as well. And I think those kind of things are stepping stones to hopefully...
Is it a partnership, or did they just run a test? I feel like that's a little...
Oh.
Am I the only one who thinks that? I could be the only one.
No, you're very much correct.
Like, they ran a test.
You're right. I'm just trying to...
Okay. Maybe like I said, I genuinely wanted to know because the only one who had a rate similar to that on this subject.
So, but.
Well, and then we also had some news. Like I said, I'm bullish on the big brains, like getting together, ironing out incentivized consensus on a testnet type beta setting. I'm excited about the stuff that I'm seeing Kirby drop as far as previews of that frictionless, like, let me gift you something to somebody who doesn't have a wallet. I'm excited about kind of a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I kind of feel like, yeah, we've got two really good points on the map, but there's not a highway for them yet where we can kind of find all these things and do all these things. So hopefully we continue to see some cool stuff. I encourage everybody, if you think that there's something on Algorand that you think I'm missing or not paying attention to, hit me up, show it to me. Let's go. Because I'm sure there is. There's a lot happening. I said I saw that HezPay tweet. I also noticed, and we all saw PacFi is merging with Humble. So I think they got Shaman running that now, which is a huge thing for him. Congrats on the new role. But yeah, I feel like there's moves. Like, people are making moves. It's just not Paris Coin or whatever the heck everybody is talking about. But that's okay if we're ready when the people do show up. Like, and I think, I don't know what Gen X, Gen Z, whatever you want to call it, but I feel like people that are invested in upsetting the status quo for like their own reasons are the people we need to be getting to adopt blockchain. Because Todd's right, it's not going to be the powerhouses. Like, the companies aren't going to do it. They're really invested in keeping that status quo the way it is. And so for things that are really broken, I think there's a lot of potential. And I think eventually people are going to kind of see that, but it has to work and it has to make sense. And I feel like we're not quite there yet, but there are some really good use cases that are being tested and tried out and like battle tested, airplane ticket. Final thoughts? Anyone else? We kind of went down some rabbit holes today. Sorry. We're real good at that stuff.
I think we didn't do a real sports subsection today, which is fine. But happy Go USA, #1 in the world. We're champions. And Yeah, we've got like 2 or 3 more weeks, I think, until football starts. In between now and then, we're going to be in definitely a little bit of a drought as the Olympics have fully wrapped up now. I'm trying to think of some serious stuff. There was a NASCAR race this past weekend where the guy that was in first place, Joey Logano, he was in first place on the final turn. The guy behind him purposely kind of crashed into him, made him spin out, and the guy won first place as a result of that. Which was really interesting and exciting. I will definitely encourage people to go watch that.
Judo says football starts next week, mate. Up the Arsenal.
Oh, yes, you're right. Okay, so there's that.
Arsenal.
And it was the Federated Auto Parts 400 for anyone looking.
I was wondering.
An interesting little thing there. But yeah, American sports. We have a little bit of time. I will go across the pond and work out my European skills. But
Joe, if you want to know about the FNet network, you go on Discord, the Foundation Discord, and jump up and down 5 times and say, "Give me some FNet tokens." If you want to get involved, you go see the Discord. Any other final thoughts? Oh, this sounds exciting.
Yeah, no, a lot of exciting stuff happening. So I will do my best to keep you guys up to date as always. But yeah, should be a good. I mean, I feel like the beginning of this year is pretty good, but I'm really excited for the second half of this year, which we are now a couple months into, and already starting to see some cool stuff happening. So, be exciting.
Ted, follow-up question. When Ted announcing Oink football matches, it's going to be a big season. I think I saw, who did I see in there? Orcs.
Dogs. Good Boys and Akita.
Oh, it's all dogs. That's right. I wasn't checked. Okay, all dogs. Good Boys, Akita, and Borks on the Oink football field, or is it a soccer field?
Oink soccer. I mean, you know.
Well, Lassie says football. You know.
That's true. You know.
I'm going with Lassie. I'm with her. All right. Any other final thoughts, Luca?
So 65% of our gold medals were won by women. Just throwing that out there. So if you're
thank you. Yeah,
I feel like I can't do this.
66 out of 126 of the medals that were won by the United States either trained or are from Colorado. Either trained in Colorado or are from Colorado. So I found that was something that was really interesting as well.
So Colorado women, the fittest in America.
Yeah. If you don't count the U.S., they would have been second in medal count, second to only China.
Oh, wow.
And even if you do count the U.S., because the U.S. would have had 60 and they would have had 66.
I think we need a sports fact checker suddenly. That seems very highly tilted towards Colorado and
train in Colorado as well. In Colorado is one of the largest training.
That makes sense for winter sports, I feel like.
Well, it's the altitude.
Yeah, it's all about VO2 max.
But Simone Biles' gym is in Texas.
Well, there's 100. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to fact check you on the Colorado man. Is that how you say that? What do you call yourself, Ted?
I call myself Ted.
Good job, Ted.
It's been fun, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.